We've been doing these 5 minutes with Jesus challenge, and we are now talking about prayer. And in the previous video, we talked about having an upward reverence, right? We're looking at the Lord's Prayer, and Jesus began. It's a model prayer, okay? It's not something that needs to be quoted every day, word for word, just out of memory, but it's just a model for how to pray. And he begins with upward reverence. We talked about that in the previous video, how we start that prayer with worship, right? The first words of the Lord's Prayer, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, right? We start with just worshiping and talking about who he is and his wonderful attributes, okay? That's the first step. In this video, we're going to look at the second step of any good prayer life, which is downward response, okay? So we're going to talk about that. Okay, so in the previous video, we talked about how our first step of prayer is worship, upward reverence. God, you're so wonderful. Our God, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We just praise God, right? Now we move from there. So the flow, the direction is now from upward reverence to downward response, right? Where we say, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So here the idea is where we say, I want to worship you, but I also want to submit to your plan for my life. I want your will to be accomplished on earth. I submit and I align my life with your purposes, with your agenda. See, so many times when we go to the Lord in prayer, it's about us. It's about my agenda. It's about the things I want to do. I mean, anytime you're in any church, not just our church, but pretty much any church, and you're going through that prayer request time, what do most of the requests center around? Different people's illnesses, different people's travel needs, different people needing a job. We talk about our needs, me, when what we need to be doing is saying, God, it's not about me, it's about your agenda. So in this second step of prayer, after we spend some time worshiping him, now we look deep in our own hearts and we say, God, what is it you want from me? Align my life, my will, my desires with you and your plan. God is not like a cosmic butler in the sky who we can just give him a list of demands and say, fetch me this and do that, right? God is not like Santa Claus where we give him a list, and if we're nice, he will give us some of those things on the list, and if we're naughty, we just get a lump of coal. That is not our God, right? And we gotta have that faulty picture of God, that his purpose is to give us what we want and to help us with our life. That is not why God exists. God exists because he is God. He is holy. He is the eternal, uncreated one. He exists for his own purposes and his own will, right? He doesn't need us for anything. And so this second step of an effective prayer, this downward response time in prayer, is to acknowledge that God, I am dependent on you. It is not my way, but your way. You are holy. We spend that time in worship. That's why we start there. We recognize who he is. And once we recognize who he is, then we look at our own response and we say, it's not about me. You're the one that's in control. You're the one that's holy. You're the one that's worthy of worship. You're the one that's controlling the universe and has a plan to accomplish things and is working through history to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. So it's not about me. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, not my will. Right? So that's that second step, is an acknowledgement of our own dependency, our own surrender, our own submission to God. When Jesus a lot of times would say, anything you ask in my name will be done. Multiple times in the gospel he says that. But that key phrase is in my name. That in my name means I am submitted to you when I ask this. This is not me making a list of demands like you're a hostage negotiator, but it's more of me saying, God, let your will be done. I submit to you because I know your will is perfect and I trust you. So that's that second step of prayer life. It's an acknowledgement of our dependence on him. That downward response to saying, God, let your will be done in my life.